This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones. It is ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to thank you for humping in with us on a hump day Wednesday. Yeah, I said hump in. Yeah, we humping in on this day. We're trying to get it done, get to the weekend. But before we do all of that, we got to talk about what we got going on for the show today. T, let me tell you. Oh, man, the Braves. Brian Snitker might have some hard decisions to make. And with your boy Akeem Hicks being signed to the Buccaneers, what do the Falcons do now? We'll talk about that. And then for the culture, the NFL just want all the money. And knee alone. That's all I got to say. We'll talk about all that. Before we get there, we got to start off with the Atlanta Braves last night. They are now 23-27 and 50 games in. They lose to the Diamondbacks in extra innings, T. What the heck is going on? I normally, optimistic manager. He's even throwing shots kind of out there like, hey, we shot ourselves in the foot. We didn't play a good ball game. It's a very ugly game. We didn't make enough pitches. Even Brian Snitker is kind of like, it seems like he just fed up with what the Braves got going on right now.
Yeah, I think it's a head scratcher for everybody. And you sit there and you think to yourself, okay, you look at Humberto Castellanos and you say, this dude gives up almost 6 runs a game. This dude only strikes out about 3. This should really be a game where the Braves feast, right?
Right, exactly.
They should be feasting. But you don't think about that other side like, okay, but are you going to also not let them feast, right?
Right.
So literally, you have the game that you want from Matt Olson. He recovers from a bad defensive outing in game 1 to give you a 4-hit night. This guy is doing his job low-key as far as the offense goes. He is second in the majors in extra base hits with 29. So he got you what you needed last night, and you're rolling. You're thinking, okay, you're up 6-2. Everything should be fine, except it wasn't. Because what the Diamondbacks did was creep back into the game until they found themselves in a situation of going into extra innings. Extra innings against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
And you can lose. Your bullpen essentially loses this game for you. Will Smith, Kenley Jansen, Jackson Stevens.
Another blown save, by the way,
exactly.
by Kenley Jansen. Yeah.
And I want to talk about him, and give that a little bit of energy specifically. But there you go. With allowing enough runs to basically blow a 4-run lead. And now you're walking away. You're coming back into the game today with the possibility of getting swept by the Diamondbacks. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. And I say we as a city because we've had to watch this crap. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is right now to me. Like, this is what it is. This is crap. Like, why are we going through this? Because, you have a situation where, you got Michael Harris, who's supposed to be a good story, who's supposed to be, the guy is essentially that was supposed to be the game-winning RBI, then kind of seal the game and put the Braves over the top and get a dub. But you just have this stupid stuff that keeps happening. You got Adam Duvall out here, being lackadaisical out in left field and all that. And we'll kind of get to that in a second as far as like the decision that I think Snitker's going to have to make coming soon. But it's sickening at times. Like, and I don't blame Brian Snitker for, saying exactly what it is because, like we said, I know I said I wasn't going to mention last year here, but I think it kind of is fitting right now. Last year is over with. Those days are gone. I was even reading a comment about from Kirby Smart, who we'll get to in just a second. He was talking about how he had to kind of cleanse those guys from last year because this is a new year. Those guys that are here, that were here last year, they aren't here. And it's the same go for the Braves. Freddie Freeman is no longer here. Jorge Soler is no longer here. You know, this team, this is a different squad. That's why it calls for a different approach, a different mindset. And they just have not found that in order to get them where they need to be. And that's where they should be competing for at least the division for a fifth year in a row.
Right. And it's tough to know what to do. I understand Brian Snitker's frustration as well, because it's where do I begin? You know, do I look at the fifth spot in the rotation and try to figure out what to do with that? Do I pull Spencer Strider into that space? And every time I go up, down for whomever I send down to Gwinnett, bring them back up to Gwinnett.
Because you could have used Spencer in that space last night instead of Will Smith, right?
Right. And that's where the dilemma comes, because do you use a Spencer Strider and give him an opportunity to get into the fifth spot of the rotation, or do you just accept and understand the fact that he's essentially going to be a part of your night shift? And you need him to be a part of your night shift, especially when Kenley Jansen has now blown his third save in the last 6 opportunities. But it's a legit dilemma, because that fifth spot in the rotation, low key, is having an impact on your bullpen. So now you've got that dilemma that haunts you night in and night out. And then you wonder to yourself, okay, am I going to get a solid defensive performance or not? Like last night, night before last, rather, I know Tuesday night's game 2 didn't really have any blunders on that level, but it's always looming overhead, right? And then you've got the serious situation, like you said, with Adam Duvall. You've got that guy out there playing every game for 50 games. Isn't he like 36? Is he really
right? Like, he's not a young whippersnapper. No. Let's go there.
You can't keep running him out there.
Yes.
Like, what you're seeing from him is probably more fatigue than anything.
Right.
So at this
Give him a couple nights off.
Yeah, exactly. And you do have to figure that thing out. And then, to your point, it's kind of a head scratcher, because you're doing some desperate moves. And I don't say desperate as in a bad thing, Jarvis. I say you're making desperate moves in an attempt to jumpstart something, bringing Ronald Acuna Jr. back, maybe into the outfield, maybe just a bit quicker than you wanted to. Bringing Michael Harris II up, maybe a bit quicker than
from
you wanted.
From AA. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Have they delivered? Yeah, for the most part, they have delivered. But every now and again, then you see Acuna Jr., like something he did last night, where literally he tries to stretch the play. And instead of having a double, he's out at third. And that costs you runs, and you can't fault him for being aggressive. That's what you love about him.
Of course,
then you also say to yourself, not only did he cost you runs, he probably freaked you out trying to get to that third base, because you wondered, oh my God, is he going to re-injure
tweak some? Yep.
So those are some serious dilemmas that Brian Snitker is facing, where every time he thinks he's solved an issue in one aspect of the game, here comes something else creeping up on him.
It seems like it's just a domino effect. Like, okay, are we going to move Spencer Strider from the bullpen into the fifth starting rotation role? Okay, because we've been horrible, in that space. I think like 2-10 in that fifth spot. That's not good. Mm-hmm. So you try to get that to try to switch things up and change things around. Then you have other issues. Okay, then your guy who you've been around, who's a savvy veteran, and Will Smith, like, oh, okay, which we shouldn't be surprised, because we saw it last year. It's just that he was able to come through in certain moments. They kind of helped you out, but we just understand where this team is. It seems like Snitker he may make a right decision for that particular moment, but it seems like it's a domino effect after that. And I think that, there's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Like, hopefully the Braves can bounce back and get a win, so they at least could save themselves from being swept by a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks. The fact that I'm even saying it out loud just sounds so weird. But I think, though, like I mentioned earlier about Kirby Smart, right? The SEC Media Days, he's going down in Destin, and which is probably my favorite place to go visit. I'm actually going to get a chance to go down there in June, at the end of this month. We're in June, T. I hope you know that, right? This year is just going so quickly.
Yeah, I'm told I know that.
Yeah. Yes, we gotta let me know what that day is because I don't think you ever told me before, but we'll figure it out. We'll get something going. We're gonna. I may have something for your birthday, so we can work that out for you. And might have to get you a hot date. You know, I'm going to set you up, play matchmaker around this junk. That's how I get down. But we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep the show moving. We don't want to bog down with that type of stuff. But
That's
I
okay.
think.
Bog down.
Y'all see how she looking at me? Oh my God, I'm so in trouble after we finish this segment. But we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. But I think though, with the media days, I think Kirby Smart is kind of don't want to get bogged down with conversations as well. When it comes to Jimbo and Nick Saban, he is just like, y'all, I don't want to get into that. That's some Mickey Mouse stuff. Y'all should hear the real stuff that goes on behind the scenes. If y'all heard that, y'all would think this was nothing. And he like, as a matter of fact, I'm done commenting about it. So what do you think about Kirby Smart just absolving himself from this conversation completely?
Yes, we have said from day one of this whole Nick Jimbo situation
Yeah.
that Kirby was winning because
Yeah.
Kirby had stayed above the fray the entire time. He even went so far as to say, hey, look, I got 15 players to recruit that I am focusing on. That is where my focus is. And yeah, low key, did he throw some shade? Yeah. Did he get some jabs in? Absolutely. You called it Mickey Mouse. You said this was something that you had seen before when you were all in the same coaches meetings. So
Indeed.
he shots were fired, but he just fired them in a very diplomatic way as he
Yeah.
kept it moving as what? The current head coach of the current reigning national champions in college football, the end. So I love what he did there, especially because to me, it was like the whole backpedaling from Nick Saban, who we haven't heard from Jimbo Fisher quite yet, but in these SEC spring meetings, but the whole backpedaling that he did and trying to explain himself and explain it away like it's all about the kids and caring for them. Miss me with all that
Blah
because
blah
blah
blah.
blah blah blah. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not believing that, regardless of the example that he gave about what happened to some of his kids. I think the other interesting issue is whether or not the SEC is going to go to 8 games or do 8 games or 9 games and how
Yes.
that's going to ultimately impact. You've got you've got teams and organizations sitting on the fence because of course they're looking at, well, does that give away, speaking of Mickey Mouse and cupcakes, does that minimize the number of Mickey Mouse cupcake
We
games?
trying to get the be bowl eligible around here. We trying to get the 6 wins. Y'all tripping.
Both eligibility and our ability to line our pockets in the college football postseason. I don't know about that. And I think the other piece of it, which I don't think is going to happen, is some have, of course, voiced concern on whether or not that means some of the rivalry games will go away
Yeah.
that are non-conference. But I do think those are the things that are going to be saved, even if the SEC ends up going to that 9-game system, if you will. So interesting to see and we'll continue to talk about it as the SEC spring meetings continue for the rest of the week. But yeah, I love that Kirby said, you know what, let me just get this foolishness out of the way so we can keep moving with the business at hand.
Indeed, and I think that 9-game conference schedule is something that's going to go through because you get 3 games that are teams. You get 3 teams that you play every year, and I think you'll definitely wouldn't be an issue getting your rival, so to speak. Especially
Indeed.
when Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC with their schedule to do in
Yes.
2025. So, all right, coming up next, though, T. You pinpointed the guy that I said I actually liked a little bit better than the guy that I actually picked for the Falcons to pick up. But Akeem Hicks signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He signed with the wrong team in the NFC South. What are the Falcons going to do now? We'll discuss all of that next, right here on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis the T, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta.